We talk about Star Wars in its current state, okay, real quick. I know that we're a couple of months out from the next big, even though, just an animated show just wrapped up, but from the next big live-action release in early June, we're going to be getting The Acolyte. I bet you forgot that trailer dropped a little while ago, but yeah, Star Wars not doing so well. And given the fact that the biggest podcast on the planet is currently dumping on it, oh my god, if that's the best publicity that you can get right now, your brand isn't good. This used to be the biggest cinematic franchise in history, a literal money printer. And now, as we have this clip over here on Reddit, and there's a reason I have it pulled up on Reddit and not on YouTube, is because A, it's become such a big farce, where you have guys who were talking MMA had to go ahead and sidetrack real quick just to take a dump on modern Star Wars, and B, who we're dealing with, who are the fans that Disney are trying to cultivate, and the reason that the franchise is in the state that it's in. But I'm going to let Matt Serra and Joe Rogan take it away. We'll be playing a couple of clips from here, and not the entire 6-minute clip, mostly because, well, I watched through it, and we only need to play the relevant parts, okay? It's my video. I do what I want. Guess what?
The Joe Rogan Experience.
I'm sick of this woke shit.
Yeah,
and let me tell you loud and clear. I am sick of what they did to fucking Star Wars.
Oh my god, see, he's really mad, and you know, that's a sentiment that a lot of people hold. And like I said before, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, okay? I've seen the prequels, I've seen the OT, that's where I'm gonna go ahead and keep it. When it comes to the new Disney content, well, I just kind of reserve that for EFAP, and I can't tell you, I think, like, I just recently went through, you know, all of the EFAP coverage of The Mandalorian. I'll probably be starting in the next couple of days, once again, my third or fourth trip through Obi-Wan or the Ahsoka show that we're gonna hear Matt Serra's commentary over the top of, and I can go ahead and corroborate the claims that he's going to be making as 100% factual. And he's going to point out some of the examples that Mahler and EFAP point out as to why Disney Star Wars sucks tremendously. And yeah, they're not just bad Star Wars products, they're just bad. And now this conversation gets to be had by more people because, yeah, the biggest podcast in the world, even though they're trying to diminish this to this poster here, just a bunch of 50-year-olds complaining about Disney characters. If you're going to go ahead and dismiss Disney characters, child's television shows as just simple, nonsensical, it doesn't need to make sense, it's for kids. I remember growing up. I had, The Lion King, Toy Story. These are great films. These are great Disney films that came out. Aladdin. Those are specifically children's films, but guess what? They were well made. The OT, A New Hope, Empire, Return of the Jedi. You could argue that 2.5 of those films are fantastically written. Are they pointed at children? Very much so. They're at least appealable to children. But I'll just tell you, universal storytelling doesn't have to cater to a specific audience, and you don't need to simply dismiss it because it's a movie for space wizards written for children. No. That weak criticism doesn't hold any water. Good stories made for children can resonate with adults because guess what? If it's a movie, who's taking those kids to the theater? And no, we're not talking about Joe Biden in a white panel van, but go on, Matt, speak your stuff.
They took a shit all over it.
Marvel.
They get angry. Listen, I love everybody.
You know?
I love everybody, and I have 3 daughters. I love strong, female characters. Vasquez from fucking Aliens.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, she was badass.
Sigourney Weaver.
Yes, Linda Hamilton. I'll go on. Listen,
Terminator.
No, there's nothing.
No, yeah, exactly. Okay, and all the critic class that'll come out and say that, you just hate Star Wars because there's women in it, okay? And those are the only examples that you can pull out, Linda Hamilton and Terminator, Sigourney Weaver, Ripley, and Aliens. It's like, I'll go ahead and I'll give you Tifa Lockhart in the Final Fantasy VII compilation, the Final Fantasy VII remake and rebirth. You know, she's tremendous in that. And she also doesn't have to, take on a butch persona. She can be feminine and completely strong. But no, they just want to simply dismiss Sarah Connor and Ripley as just being, those are the go-to. You guys don't have any other examples. Well, you don't really need any other examples when you have obvious home run characters, well-written characters like that. And you know why those names resonate throughout the years, the 40 years since they've actually been introduced on screen, 40 plus years in the case of Ripley. 79 was when Alien came out, for Christ's sakes. Is because guess what? Here's this weird thing. We're still talking about Alien from 79. Are we going to be talking about Ahsoka from 2023 in 5 years' time? Oh, yeah, no. But anyways.
How about this? There's nothing wrong with making everybody badass. Now, I'm racing the wrong guys. Did you guys see Ahsoka?
I did.
Oh,
Ahsoka.
My brother.
It's
Oh, that's another thing. Okay, I don't know if you caught that underneath, because I sped it up a little bit, because it's a Rogan clip. Don't want to get, copyright struck and anything like that. But he asked, what's Ahsoka? Oh, it's the only thing, okay? This is Star Wars pillaging their own less than popular animated show. Like, it's popular for a Star Wars show, but an animated show that not very many people have seen. Listen, they ruined the OT characters so bad and wrote them so incompetently, where now they have to go back to the animated shows, make them live action, only for fans of that original character not to be satisfied with a live action representation. It's so wild that we're in this state, but we are, so...
it's a Disney Plus show. It's about a Jedi. There she is.
Yeah, well, Rosario Dawson.
Yeah,
Well, she's actually not a Jedi, but she is in the live action version. But during the Clone Wars, when she was originally introduced, she's famously not a Jedi, but you don't ever discuss that in the show. No, don't worry about that, guys. She just got two lightsabers now, lightsabers now, and she's real cool.
Now, it's not to get too geeky on you, but listen.
It's too late for that.
I gotta listen. I gotta go. Listen. This is the deal with Ahsoka. It's based basically off of another show, which was an animated show. Not to get too nerdy on you, first of all, before you pick on me, George St. Pierre watches these same fucking shows. I talked to George about this, and we geeked the fuck. I go, George,
my God.
how do we have a fight? We fight.
No, yeah, exactly. Ahsoka, Dave Filoni's OC, the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker, okay, basically the one character that Dave Filoni, the writer of most of the Star Wars, like the second in command underneath Kathleen Kennedy at Lucasfilm, wants to make the center of all Star Wars content going forward. If you don't believe me, just listen to the guy opine about his little orange princess.
He knows more than me about all this shit. He reads the books. But anyway, this show is a cool show. The show Rebels, right? And it's about the...
Well, yeah, Rebels, good, but okay, cool. But that's not where she comes from. She comes from the Clone Wars. Like I said, I haven't watched any of this stuff, but I can fill in the information. I can fill in the gaps.
It's young Jedi, Ezra, right? So now they're doing a live, guys, stay with me for 2 seconds. So now the live action comes out, right? And Ezra, at the end of the series, Ezra fights this guy Thrawn, and he goes to another dimension, and he leaves a fucking hero. And now the next appearance is him live action in this series years later.
Yes, exactly. It's a continuation of the Rebels story, which was already okay. Because, like I said, the Clone Wars show had a smaller audience than Star Wars movies. I think everybody can agree with that. And then Rebels had an even smaller audience than the Clone Wars. And then Ahsoka on D+, we can see the subscriptions just bleeding every month, or I'm sorry, every quarter when Disney has to announce them. So we know that the Ahsoka show, outside of the memers, is a very, very small audience. So if you're legitimately following along with the story of Ezra Bridger, you're one of the diehards, okay? There was a lot of people upset with the live action representation because, well, as Matt Serra is about to explain, he, kind of like Ahsoka, wasn't acting like himself.
All right. They make him the biggest cuck in the universe, right? This guy was a fucking Jedi, badass in the cartoon. I'll give you a couple instances, right? They find him, they're on the planet. His friend finds him, I forgot her name, but she gives him a fucking, she's like a Mandalorian. She gives him...
Yeah, Sabine Wren, who doesn't come clean for the fact that, her decisions in the Ahsoka show actually undermined his great sacrifice at the end of Rebels, but we don't need to talk about that. Why are you here? Don't worry about it. I kind of wanted to see you because I love you like a brother. And then Ezra's totally fine with that explanation. Okay, cool. But yeah, here's another big example as to why the show just doesn't resonate. Nobody even remembers it, even though it came out, less than a year ago at this point in time?
Yeah, his lightsaber, do your thing. Now look, they can't make him look too cool because he's a dude. They go, hey. He goes, listen, I don't need the lightsaber. The Force is my weapon. So already, boo, right there, big boo. Really?
Unless he became, in his isolation on the, far-off planet, on the planet that he ended up getting isolated on when him and the space whales took Thrawn, it's so dumb, into another galaxy. Okay, I only need the Force going forward. And it's like, okay, the Force is my friend. I don't need a lightsaber anymore in order to defend myself during this low-speed crab person chariots of fire ripoff battle. Oh my God, it's so bad. It's so bad. But yeah, you set it up. Okay, I don't need a lightsaber. I don't need a blaster. The Force is my friend. You're thinking, okay, cool. He's had all this time. He's this young Jedi showing a lot of promise. It's like, oh, he's going to be that impressive with the Force, huh? Well, Sarah...
The lightsaber, they're surrounded right now. So he's like doing some fucking hippie shit. It's whatever. Next, this gets me now. You'll relate, Dean. You'll relate to this. Listen, now they have two of these. He's been on this planet. They find them on. They have two of these horses, these alien horses. It's Ahsoka, the Mandalorian chick, and Ezra. So there's three of them riding on a motorcycle. When there's two guys riding. Now the guy in the back, it's called riding bitch. Yeah. Who's riding bitch? Ezra. No, is that just because, it just happens to be? No. It's like that on purpose.
I get it.
I mean, he's not wrong with that one, but then also what else was equally stupid? Yeah, there's a fight that happens right after he says that line, "The Force is my friend," and he ends up getting dicked down in that combat, and then in the next episode, he's building a lightsaber, but I thought the Force was your friend. And here's where Rogan chimes in, okay, before we move on and see how well this clip is being received. I could think, by the fact that this is Reddit after all, I can probably, put two and two together on this one, but like Joe kind of hits it out of the park with us.
Who wrote it though?
Here's
the thing, like, it's not really Star Wars.
Oh.
It's just this new thing that they use in Star Wars,
Disney.
the Star Wars universe. And Star
Disney
Wars is
is-
Luke Skywalker
is
and Darth
company.
Vader, and that's
That's
it.
right.
It's Obi-Wan
Right,
Kenobi
right,
and
yeah.
C-3PO. Everything else, you're just stealing my money.
I mean, is he wrong though? That's the general perception. Okay, because you ask somebody out on the street who Luke Skywalker is. Okay, name a Star Wars character. Are you gonna get anybody outside of the OT characters? You might get Obi-Wan. You might get Anakin Skywalker. Probably get Yoda. You might. Okay, anything new, you might get Baby Yoda. Nobody's gonna say Grogu though. Like, come on, man. Nobody's even going to say Mando at this point in time. Like, it's all exactly what Joe says. It's the OT stuff. You take a look at things in totality, there has been more Disney Star Wars content than there has ever been George Lucas Star Wars content, and none of it even comes close to resonating, even for as bad as the prequels were. There's a reason Star Wars is in the shape that it's in. It's because they were trying to cater to a new fan base, and there's a portion of that fan base, right? Here's the Redditors that are out there. Yes, famed film critic and connoisseur Matt Serra, just instead of addressing his argument, you go ahead and diminish a guy who's an actual fan of the series. Okay, they're doing this on purpose. No, dude, Disney is making major character development and plot points on accident. Did you watch the show? Watched commentary. I've seen breakdowns of it multiple times over, and character development of Ahsoka crossing her arms of plot points go non-followed up on? Okay, cool. But no, just continue to jangle keys like, oh, there's the owl. That means that it's their daughter. We're going to be getting Mordish stuff next season if it gets greenlit. Oh, wait. It had to get greenlit after Charmin obeyed Chinoy. Your stupid New Year's Eve comments. Okay. What's higher, the temperature in that room or the IQ of all combined men? Somebody who's just off the plantation. So you like Ahsoka? Oof. But oof, here's somebody with a big cell phone. The Battle of Endor? That shit's ass, and you're trying to post that as, it's hilarious that he wants to point out wokeness in a series where a Jedi is riding bitch, but it seems too common in this series. You go ahead and point out that one example. You go ahead and post the screenshot. I think that's Leia and Luke. Leia and Luke on a speeder. Was Luke being denigrated in that scene? Was Leia simply being elevated because of the virtue of her XX chromosomes? No. Did you say the same about the Sabine Wren Ezra scene? No, you can't. There's other examples. There's better examples that are out there. This is the audience. These are the actual brainlet audience members that Disney wants. The simple consumers. The consume product, get excited for next product type people. And guess how well that's worked out for them. Disney Star Wars box office profits fail to cover cost of buying Lucasfilm. 11 years. 11 years after purchasing. Well, I'm sorry, we're now entering the 11th year. 2014, they purchased Lucasfilm. Okay. They put out 5 movies. 5 years. Rise of the Skywalker, cinematic abortion that was up there. It came out in 2019. It's going to be just about a decade before Star Wars returns to the cinema. Because, okay, cool. There's how many announced projects? There's been more Disney Star Wars movies canceled than have been released. Okay, we've ran down the list before, but trust us, guys. You know what's going to turn around business? Another movie centered around the chick from the sequel trilogy that led to this nearly half-decade-long hiatus from the theater. Or, what about Mandalorian and Grogu? Everybody's looking forward to that film. The really popular TV series. And by really popular, I mean if this was back in 2019 when the series was in season 1. Do you remember the critic reception to Mandalorian season 3? Like I said, I just recently rewatched the coverage from EFAP on that, and holy, is that written like dog shit. Nobody's excited for that film. But Dave Filoni's Mandoverse movie, where Thrawn, incompetent ass Thrawn, he's going to be the big old villain, but still, they've got to jangle those Thrawn keys for another 5 or 6 years. So yeah, trying to recoup any of those box office losses in comparison to the purchase price of Lucasfilm, yeah, ain't gonna be happening for a while. You might see that Rey movie in 26. You might see Mandalorian and Grogu. Don't know what's coming out first. But Patty Jenkins reassures us, and Taika Waititi also talked about his Star Wars project. Brother, it's dead. Nobody likes Star Wars anymore. And if they like Star Wars, it's none of this new stuff. Box office profits generated by Disney's Star Wars movies have fallen $2.8 billion short of covering the media giant's purchase of the sci-fi saga creator Lucasfilm, according to an analysis of recently filed financial statements. Disney bought Lucasfilm for $4 billion back in 2012. Oh, it's 2012, so I was right. Well, technically, I was still wrong, but I was closer with 11 years as opposed to 10. Yeah, 12 years. 12 years they've had this. They bought it for $4 billion, meaning they only made $1.2 billion at the box office. Bruh. And soon have given the green light to a new trilogy of Star Wars movies, teaming up rising star Daisy Ridley and John Boyega. Were those the rising stars? Because, okay, cool. Yeah, teaming them up with, yes, Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and the late Carrie Fisher, who never appeared on screen at the same time. The easiest slam dunk in Hollywood history, and J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson. Yes, if it would have been very early in the filming of TLJ, Rian Johnson could have got them all. Oh, no, right, because Han Solo was already dead at that point in time. Stupid, man. No, not putting all of them back on screen, and then also to try to say that Daisy Ridley and John Boyega were the rising stars when you had Oscar Isaac, he's not a plural, and Adam Driver. Okay, the two guys who actually have careers. Like, what does John Boyega and Daisy Ridley has done dick with a side of all since Rise of Skywalker? Like, come on, man. All the stars aligned with The Force Awakens. Yeah, made over $2 billion, 2.1, but then Rise of Skywalker made half, barely crossing $1 billion. Also because of the damage that TLJ did with $1.7 billion at the box office. But the fact that we hear now, man, with Star Wars apparently in a state of disrepair back in 2012 when Disney bought it, and there was so much hype for the release of The Force Awakens and making over $2 billion, only to follow that up over a decade later with a report that you couldn't even make back half of what you spent at the box office. There's a reason that everybody's dunking on Star Wars right now, from Joe Rogan and Matt Serra to the people that are actually in the trenches covering this stuff whenever it gets released. Star Wars is a dead property. You tried to make the Force female, but guess what? Now the audience is just as fickle as that being you tried to make the Force after your acquisition. You get what you deserve. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.